and wishes you and yours a very happy holidays. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
When your home fills up with family, Allo Fiber makes sure that space is a happy place for everyone. Allo Fiber experts install it all, and full service means step-by-step support, guiding you through everything so you can stay connected to what matters, and the family can always feel at home. Put the game on, and don't worry about your Wi-Fi calling a timeout. Better TV and internet service is one connection away. Call Allo at 866-481-2556 or visit allofiber.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, welcome to Ticket Weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome into Ticket Weeknights here on a Monday. We kick things off for you the same way we have been on Mondays with the Husker Football Hour. We go to our VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber. We welcome in Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. Tom, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, but it's also beginning to feel a lot like Bowl Week for the first time in 8 years. Postseason for Nebraska football. How's it feel?
Well, it feels good. Right now, I'm in Omaha traffic. It's a Monday night Christmas traffic, so I will do the best I can here. I'm almost home, and let's talk bowls. It feels good. I think it'll feel more like bowl season as we start seeing reports from New York. I think a lot of the Nebraska media will be out there probably starting with Thursday. So there's going to be some interviews Thursday and Friday. The coaches apparently are going to appear on a Zoom. I don't know why they can't do it in person. But in any case, the game will be Saturday before we know it. But I think we'll start seeing hopefully photos of players out and about practicing. I think there was a photo today of them at the New York Giants facility, so getting ready to work out. So, it's strange, it's weird, but man, it feels good.
You get the Husker athletic department going to opposite sides of the country with Husker football headed out to New York, Husker men's basketball out in Hawaii. Let's just get, before we dive back into football, your early impressions of Fred Hoiberg and this team after a win over Murray State last night, 8-2, probably the favorite in this field. What do you like about what Fred Hoiberg's done with this team so far?
Yeah, they're scoring. Early on, I wasn't sure how much they were going to score, but the Wisconsin transfer Connor Esigian is really he I don't think you want to say that he's starting to heat up. I think that's just what he does, and he's become the guy that they want, and we're going to have plenty of defense. And Murray State is Murray State. This is a deal where you go all the way to Hawaii, and they're probably going to be a couple of quad 3 wins. Mm-hmm. But if I can get to Oregon State, beat them, that's probably a quad 1. So they just need to win. And they got that Indiana win, and that was after what happened in East Lansing, that was necessary. So it was. I think they're on track. They're we'll pick things up again. I think they go to Iowa. I think in the next few weeks, and they go. I have not memorized the schedule yet, but I like what they're doing. But it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be ugly at times. They're going to grind it out, but. That's Big Ten basketball, isn't it?
It sure is, and that's maybe my next question for you. Do you like the roster for the Big Ten? Obviously not a great opening game performance at Michigan State, then a nice bounce back with a 17-point win over Indiana at home. Do you like the roster? You think it's set up to make it through 18 more Big Ten games in decent position?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we'll see. The Michigan State game was, maybe just catching Sparty at home, but their defense took care of Indiana. They forced them into a lot of shots that they don't like to take, and they aren't going to make. So I think it's set up to play defense. It's going to rebound. They've got the size. One guy that's intriguing to me, and please forgive me, cannot pronounce his name, but he's like a 6'10" point guard almost, or 6'8". He's I think he's going to be an interesting guy to watch. It's BERT. Is that how you?
Yeah, Berke Boyuktanjel. Yeah.
Does he have a nickname?
I think that Fred Hoiberg and Ken Pavelka have taken calling him BK. So I guess we can go with BK.
I like him. I think he's going to be fun to watch.
I'm with you. He's a kind of a versatile piece, a little different than Rink Mass, but similar idea in terms of a ball handling or passing big man. And again, I think that's where we've seen kind of the evolution of Fred Hoiberg, because if Nebraska had gone out to this tournament in Hawaii after, I think, 8 days off, Tom, you wouldn't have felt good about a team like this packing its defense, but a versatile piece like Boyuktanjel, some long wings, and good coaches on the defensive end that have kind of instilled that mentality in Nebraska. I just think the fact that Nebraska was able to win a game despite starting really slow against a pesky sort of mid-major is a good sign for the program, that it has turned a corner under Fred Hoiberg, and that the ceiling might change from year to year, but I feel really good about this team's floor. I don't think it's nearly as low of a floor as it was in some of the mid-Miles years or even the early Hoiberg years.
Yeah, I think the key additions were Gary and Williams, just getting him to come back. And that's how it is now in college sports. Retention, I mean, that's where it all starts. Because, nobody's guaranteed to come back every year anymore. So until they start signing long-term contracts. But I really think Gary and Williams are obvious leaders. They have a certain chemistry together. They know what Fred wants out there. They went through it the last couple of years. It's like having a couple of coaches on the floor, and I think that the fact that they are defense first guys, will drive to the basket and get fouled guys, but they can also make a three. It's not a one-dimensional offense. It's not a one-dimensional team. It's got different sides to it, but those two guys bring the dog into the equation. And so, yeah, it all starts with them. And they've been through the Big Ten. They'll be able to tell everybody what it's all about. The Big Ten is, it doesn't have that super team. Purdue has certainly played a good schedule. Auburn, but they have taken a couple on the nose, or the chin, whatever chin nose, whatever Matt Painter's got. They aren't the team they were last year. I think Nebraska has, they got to be consistent, and the defense should travel everywhere. Again, it didn't travel to East Lansing, but hopefully it goes on the trip from now on, and they should be able to win. I mean, I'm thinking 500 or better.
I definitely see where you're coming from with that. I think this is an interesting kind of jumping off point too, because Eric Strickland and I were talking about this a little bit. The SEC has 10 teams in the most recent AP poll top 25. I think the Big Ten has 5. But Tom, we've seen SEC teams, especially some teams that you might say are, quote unquote football schools, take big jumps in basketball. You look at Alabama, what they've done the last 5-6 years. Auburn goes out and hires Bruce Pearl. Tennessee goes and gets Rick Barnes. And the inverse comparison, I think, to Nebraska is Kentucky, right? That's a basketball school and a football conference. Big Ten, I don't know if it's a football conference, basketball conference, what have you, but I do think we've seen a lot more investment from SEC teams in their men's basketball programs in terms of their education, in terms of their recruiting budgets, and in really competing at the highest level at a more consistent basis. Do you think the Big Ten can maybe take some cues from the SEC, where we talk so much about the money that football brings in, but maybe the Big Ten can reinvest some of that time, that money, that attention into men's basketball and win a championship for the first time since 2000?
Well, the Big Ten loves basketball, and the Big Ten has always been ahead of the SEC in basketball. Problem with the Big Ten is they're just stuck on this style, where it's a methodical half-court game. Now, some will, Illinois likes to get up after it. I mean, so a lot of there's schools that do like to do that, but the athletes aren't necessarily in the Big Ten. We saw that when Nebraska played A&M. I mean, Nebraska makes the tournament. Well, how do you win a game? Well, you have to have the right matchup. A lot of these Big Ten teams have to have the right matchup, and of course, last year Purdue with Zach Edey they were the hard matchup for everybody else. But it's just Big Ten doesn't necessarily get the athletes the other leagues get. The SEC has tapped into that. They've brought in these accomplished coaches, and like you said, Barnes and Pearl, and these guys are older guys. That they're attracted to the SEC because of the money, but also the lower expectations. I mean, they aren't going into a major pressure cooker, Tennessee or Auburn, and so they're able to kind of settle in and build something with athletes that are readily available. Now you throw in the portal and NIL, the great equalizer. Okay, it's the great equalizer. I just saw a story today that Duke is going to pay the Tulane quarterback $4 million a year. This is Duke football. So Duke football, and now you've got Carolina throwing all this money at Belichick. So the portal and NIL are really caused a lot of parity. And now the SEC, instead of whining about the college football playoffs, should be bragging about basketball. So I agree with it. Big Ten needs to wake up in both football and basketball and get out of this. We're one trick pony. It's got to be physical. We have to be older. We have to be big and strong and overpower you. And that's not how basketball works anymore. So yeah, I think Big Ten has always been good in basketball, but they've kind of had it their way. The Big East has made a lot of jumps in the last several years. The Big 12 is ahead of the Big Ten. Now the SEC is ahead of them. So in terms of athletes and that kind of thing. So I think the Big Ten is going to have a moment here where they're going to have to get together and figure out what they want to do. Again, the portal and NIL make that available to them if they want to upgrade athletes and go after the better players. But I feel like some of the coaches of the Big Ten are, they're going to do it their way. So excuse me, but Michigan's got a new guy from Florida Atlantic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so he might have a different way. Obviously, Hoiberg likes to do it the Big 12 way. He adjusted to winning the Big 10. We need to get Fred to the point where, okay, you're able to match up in the Big 10, but then you've also got superior athletes and guys who can play elite offense too. Like he had Iowa State. So I feel like right now Nebraska is trying to play the way the Big Ten plays. So I mean, if you're going to make the NCAA tournament, you have to win conference games. So they're playing the way you need to play to win conference games, but then they need to be able to play a different way in the NCAA tournament.
And that's the big advantage the SEC has, is that it doesn't have to change style, so it's maybe not as matchup dependent. Tom, I'm curious to see too. Michigan State, Tom Izzo, who knows how many years left he has, pacing the sidelines. In Indiana, those are probably the two biggest basketball brands in the Big Ten. No offense to UCLA as the newcomer. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of Big Ten basketball brands, it's Michigan State and it's Indiana, the two closest things the Big Ten has to a blue blood. I'm sure you can throw them in the blue blood conversation if you'd like. I won't object. But neither one of those schools has necessarily adapted well to this new day and age. Do you think that there's a lot of schools that might not tell themselves this, but deep down are just kind of waiting for Indiana and Michigan State to pick it up, get in gear, and show the rest of the league, hey, this is how we navigate this era?
Well, somebody's got to show them. I don't think it's going to be the four newbies. They're just, I think they're more equipped to change the Big Ten football than they are basketball. Mm-hmm. USC's basketball is, they make an appearance once in a while. UCLA has the history, and they're good, but they've been hard times also. They're up and down. Oregon's good, but I'm not sure Oregon's going to change the Big Ten. Yeah, it's gonna. You may have to wait for some of those coaches. Indiana, are they going to change coaches again this year? who are they going to bring in? Is it be an Indiana guy who's the Indiana way, or do they bring in somebody who's going to modernize it a little bit? Izzo will be Izzo, and Izzo's been very good. They've had great athletes there. They've been in the Final Fours. I wouldn't say Purdue's a blue blood. They haven't been to enough Final Fours.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's going to have to. You're going to have somebody come into the league and just transform it. Wow, everybody! This is the new way, and I don't know who that is right now.
I think Fred Hoiberg, his adaptation is maybe setting the way, but then it's again, can Nebraska break through and win that game in the NCAA tournament? And let's circle back to that too, Tom. There's no excuse in this day and age with all the money flowing in for Nebraska not to be, a football school. And right? Sure, football drives the revenue. Football's always going to steer the ship. But we see what John Cook's done with volleyball. We'll talk about that here momentarily as well. But if Auburn, if Tennessee, if Alabama can shake the quote-unquote football school moniker and be good at more than one sport, I don't see why Nebraska can't, especially because when Nebraska football was winning championships, guess what? You had the golden era of Nebraska men's basketball there in the early to mid-90s.
Yeah, and they were recruiting everywhere. But I never forget this. 92, 93, Danny Nee got we called them the Fab Four from Omaha, and so it was the best players from Omaha all went to Nebraska. Well, the best players from Omaha don't go to Nebraska anymore, and I think Fred needs to spend more time getting those guys. And we just had 3 or 4 going to the portal this past year from Omaha, and I don't think they got any of them. So Fiddler, the kid who went to UCLA. There's a kid at Wisconsin who's from Omaha. There's I just feel like it's the talent is in the state now to do well. You don't have the excuse where you have to go out. There's plenty of talent here. But yeah, I know it's hard to get them to stay sometimes. They don't maybe see the vision, or they don't. I don't feel like Nebraska basketball really has a big presence in Omaha. I'd like to see him play a game here every year, and recruit here. Have there should be more Fred sightings in Omaha. I mean, I'm sure he's here occasionally, but it's just not a huge presence. And there's plenty of people in Omaha who would love to have him here, and love the Huskers, and would love for Nebraska basketball. I mean, everybody kind of writes it off as, well, it's Creighton town, but there's a lot of red here. There's more red than blue, and that people would love to see him. So I think that's an area that can help. It's hard to really question Nebraska's investment in basketball or the caring factor. There's only paying Fred a lot of money. They went out and got, the guy who's one of the hottest college basketball names around, is Fred Hoiberg, who's a very good college basketball coach. They have that arena. I don't know the contract on, but I mean, I'm sure the university helped build that. I'm thinking. So it isn't quite all their arena, but they have the arena, they have the coach. But a lot of times that's not enough. Sometimes you have to. I mean, in this day and age, you got to go get players, and I don't know how much NIL money 1890 is pouring into a lot of these guys that they got. But that's where it's at right now. You've got to work the portal, and you got to have the money invested in going out and getting these players. So, but hey, the SEC is making the same money as the Big Ten. So,
right.
So it's not like the money's not there. It's, the SEC puts plenty of money into football, obviously. So, yeah, I agree. I think it just starts with the coach and the support system. The facilities are probably somewhere down the line. NIL money somewhere up on top.
Last thing before we go to our break here, Tom, is this a cycle for the Big Ten that you can short circuit? Can you kind of jumpstart it and say, sometimes you think it's a chicken and the egg, right? You need talent to win, but you need to win to get talent. Can Nebraska, can any Big Ten team in men's basketball kind of cut that line and say, nope, we're just going to go all in on talent acquisition and then we're going to win? Or is a team just going to say, we're going to win with what we have and kind of eschew the going and getting the dudes of the day?
Well, I think the Big Ten needs more dudes for sure. They certainly have, they're like I said, they've had some of the best players in the country over the years, but Big Ten has always been an older league. They've developed, players stay, but look what happened this year. You had Chucky Hepburn with Wisconsin. You have guys who do leave the Big Ten now to go chase money. So I really think the schools in the Big Ten, when it comes to players and dudes and talent acquisition, are they going to put money into it? I mean, I've heard the Wisconsin writers talk about this, that their Wisconsin is not all in. I mean, at the highest levels, they're not going to be like that. They're going to be a notch or two down. And they're talking about Wisconsin football, but I'm sure basketball is the same way. I mean, so many schools have been doing this. It's probably hard to get Indiana and Iowa and Illinois. Illinois has been getting top talent for a long way, but I'm sure they're probably financially all in. But Michigan State, it's hard to get some of these schools to change the way that they've been doing things, because they've been winning for a long time and they've been going to tournaments and they haven't been going to Final Fours. They haven't been winning national championships, but it's hard. It's hard to get, the fans have to be all in. The Big Ten has great basketball fans, but are they going to show up at the NIL dinner? Are they going to write checks? You know what I mean? It's you've got and the SEC people, they're programmed to do one thing: win. Care about winning. Don't care about anything else. Care about winning. And so I've written about this before. The SEC wants to win national titles. The Big Ten wants to be the Big Ten. Big Ten is obsessed with being the Big Ten and how they do things, how they're the culture, the traditions, all that stuff. I wonder, will these 4 West Coast schools change any of that? It's a chore to do it. Nebraska hasn't been able to change it because Nebraska hasn't been winning in anything. So, Maryland basketball is good. They're not going to change the Big Ten. So you really, you're talking about getting people to do things differently after decades and decades of Bob Knight, Lou Henson, just all the same, all these names that have, dominated the Big Ten for years, doing it their way. So you need almost a new generation of guys to come into the league. That starts with ADs, and they've got to go get the guys who are maybe going to adjust to NIL and the portal and kind of build that way. So it's an interesting time for the Big Ten. They're the leaders in TV money, but they've got to look at themselves and go, are we doing things? Are we doing the best we can to win national championships? And I'll tell you what, after watching Ohio State Saturday night, if that's the Ohio State team we're going to see the rest of the way, the Big Ten's got a couple of national title contenders. I'll tell you that.
That voice you hear is Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. He's with us on our Aloe Fiber VIP line. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll talk some Husker volleyball falling in the Final Four and Nebraska football making the trip up to New York City for the Pinstripe Bowl against Boston College. Don't go anywhere. This is the Husker Football Hour on 93.7 The Ticket.
Who wants free diamonds? This holiday season, as a thank you for shopping with us, Sartor Heyman Jewelers is giving you free diamonds. Now through December 6th, receive a pair of sparkling diamond stud earrings, a stunning diamond pendant, or a gorgeous diamond tennis bracelet for free with your qualifying purchase. We only have a limited number to give away, so once they're gone, they're gone. Don't wait on this one. Visit Sartor Heyman Jewelers, where your gift shopping shines brighter. In Lincoln at South Point Mall, downtown, and in Grand Island on State Street.
At Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical, we're ready, reliable, and recommended. Water heater acting up or your sump pump on the fritz? Call Action. Summer's around the corner. Is your AC working? Are you sure? Call Action. Electrical problems? I'm telling you, call Action. Call Action for a free same-day estimate or trusted second opinion. You heard that right, a free same-day estimate. 402-423-6960. ActionLincoln.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, wanting to thank you all again for your continued service. November is off and running. Check this out. Get up to $12,000 off or 0% financing on select new vehicles. We have great lease specials with new Trax and Trailblazers starting at $299 per month and new Blazer EVs leasing for $399. Great payments, discounts, and of course, 0% financing. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. All finance with approved credit, leases with $2,500 down.
This holiday season, recharge with the Planet Fitness Black Card for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. So instead of fighting a stranger in the mall over a stuffed T-Rex, bring a friend for free and work out on the TRX. Instead of freezing in line for a lame holiday deal, relax in the Black Card spa with some hydro massage feels. Instead of being trapped at your in-laws, escape to any of our 2,600 Planet Fitness locations. Sign up today for the Planet Fitness Black Card. Just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Deal ends Friday, December 6th. See Club for details.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Early break.
There's quite a situation going on.
What?
Jake's been asked to step away on Fridays from now on.
Yeah,
they want to bring. Young Ben has been dubbed as the curse breaker. He's been dubbed as the curse breaker, and Jake's been asked kindly to step away.
Just for Fridays.
Just
though.
Fridays.
Just Fridays only.
Game
day only. Game day eve only.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetables, chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
Back to The Ticket weeknights on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the Husker Football Hour. I'm Boss Norman, joined on our VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Joined by Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald. Tom, let's touch on some Husker volleyball. They fall to Penn State, and not only do the Huskers lose, they get reverse swept out of the NCAA tournament for the first time since the 1980s. Certainly an unexpected end to the season for Husker volleyball in the national semifinals, as Penn State goes on to win the national championship in 4 sets over Louisville the next day. Your reaction to Nebraska volleyball in the Final Four?
Oh, it hurts, didn't it? I mean, I think people are still hurting. There's still a hangover from that. But that's just the impact this team had on people. Every match was must-see TV. they reached in and grabbed people's hearts and stole them. And the highs were incredible. The wins over Wisconsin, winning the Big Ten, the early non-conference wins, just the way they played, the energy, the smiles, the chemistry, the love, all that. This was a team that people really, I think, invested in and got close to. And so that made everybody hurt when they were hurting too. It was stunning. They were, how many match points? 4.
Yeah.
And just didn't get it done. And one of the talented players, they get so many talented players and they can't all play. So some of them leave. That's the era we live in. And they brought in the All-American from Minnesota, and they would let the freshman redshirt leave, and she ended up having a great match against him. And that's the world we live in. That's portal. I guess the volleyball now is also portal volleyball. So yeah, it all hurt. It was stunning, but it should have been. I mean, the way it happened was stunning. The fact that it was Penn State was not stunning. They'd already beaten them, and they were obviously a very quality team. That almost lost to Creighton. I mean,
yeah,
it wasn't like Penn State was on some heater. They had to really play well to beat Creighton. So, we'll remember them. We'll remember this team for the way they made us feel. The ending will be part of that, but we'll remember this for the players, the high level, the sellout, or the stadium match last year. A lot of these players will be associated with some of the all-time moments in Nebraska volleyball history. They just aren't going to get that ring.
So what I hear you saying is this is not a cause to look deep into the soul of this program and ask all these deep questions. It's just, hey, it's unfortunate that they lost. There was a good team that lost to a team that was just a little bit better, and Coach Cook will have his team in the same position for next year, right? We don't need a state of the program address or anything, no deep soul searching.
No, they had the right players. They were one of the best teams all year. They had that team ready to go, and they were up, and they were going to close out the match, and just didn't do it. You got to perform. NCAA tournaments, national championships are won by the team that shows up and outplays the other one. They make the plays, finish the job, close it out. I mean, that's the outside hitters maybe didn't have their best match. It was the first 2 sets they all worked great. So it just you got to give credit to Penn State. You tip their hat and say they outplayed them. And there's not a lot of second guessing to be done on this thing. I mean, I'm sure there's some volleyball people who might do that, but I thought they were right there. They just didn't finish it, and it wasn't like last year where they ran into a orange buzzsaw that just played great. This time they were right there, and this probably hurts more because of the fact that they were right there. So no, I don't expect any big overhauls or anything. But they've got a great nucleus going forward. They'll have to probably, they'll probably go into the portal again. And a couple of times now they've let somebody leave, and that kind of come back to bite them a little bit. So, but how do you choose that? They're all great. all these players are all stacked up in the roster that are all American candidates. I mean, they all are. So, it's going to be their turn one of these times.
And that's maybe one of the big differences between, say, the volleyball portal and the basketball portal compared to the baseball portal or the football portal, Tom, is that in a sport where you have 6 players on the court at a time, or 5 for basketball, anyone that's sitting the bench that can go be an impact player, take over and dominate for a team in a match like that is going to make an outsized difference, right? We can all agree that, Nebraska football can use some more dudes, but there's a big difference between Nebraska football getting a dude or Georgia football losing a dude that wasn't playing compared to a team like Nebraska volleyball, where you can lose All-Americans and you're going to feel that, even if they didn't play for you, just because of the outsized impact one player can have on a 6 or 5 person game compared to a 9 or 11 person game.
Yeah, that's what we said, that it's easier to win in college basketball. It doesn't take as many players, and that's the same thing about volleyball. Now, unlike the other sports in Nebraska, a lot of them anyway, Nebraska volleyball is already built. It's been rolling for a long time, and so they just plug people in now. When they go in the portal, they have to make sure that person is going to fit with the team and the chemistry and the role that they play. But they're just plugging people in. They already have a roster that's just unbelievable compared to a lot of them. So. They've got a great nucleus coming back next year. They're going to play a great schedule again. It's the one thing I think that's really hopeful for Nebraska volleyball going into the next phase of college sports is whenever Nebraska gets into revenue sharing and the $20 million or the $22 million or whatever. I mean, I've seen how, in general, college people who cover college sports and I'm talking to ADs are kind of saying, well, this is, in general, this amount will go to the football team. So maybe that's 15 million, maybe that's 12 million. Maybe it's half of what you're doing is going to go to football. Maybe it's less. But then they kind of cut it up into basketball and also women's basketball. That the schools are going to be allotting a lot of the revenue sharing money to. I think in Nebraska, I think volleyball is going to be second or third on the list. I mean, I think they obviously want to make sure that they're giving basketball a fair shake, but I'm sure that they're going to. The top volleyball players are going to be commanding a lot of money here. The volleyball is exploding, and that's next. I think Nebraska will take care of the volleyball team. I don't think it's going to be down at the bottom. There are some schools it will be. I think Nebraska is going to be different.
I think deservedly so, and I think if Nebraska wants to maintain its spot on top of the volleyball world, or at least in the upper echelon, I think it's certainly going to have to spend. But Tom, that's a good transition into football here for the last 10 minutes or so of the show. Been about a month since we will have seen the Huskers play. What are you expecting to see on the offensive side of the ball from Nebraska in the Pinstripe Bowl on Saturday?
Well, I'm not going to certainly give anybody like a nickname or the big three or whatever they call them in the NBA, but I think you've got a potential for 3 focal points on offense going into the next season. And I want to see what Dana Holgerson thinks about that. We're talking about Dylan Raiola at quarterback, Emmett Johnson at running back, and Ja'Cory Barney at receiver. There are 3 guys who are all playmakers. And, I mean, you're going to have other receivers you're bringing in, other running backs, certainly. You're going to have tight ends that are going to need the ball. But I think there's a chance to have those three is sort of what you build your offense around. And I wonder if this game will showcase a little bit of that. Will that, the play calling, the emphasis on where the ball goes, I don't think Holgerson's going to tip his hand any. I don't think there's a hand to be tipped. I think he's going to go into the offseason and really they're still going to be adding a lot of pieces probably. But I just think there's a chance that these three are going to be the guys who are going to stand out in his offense. And, I think the running game is going to be a little bit different. I think the running game will, I think you'll see a guy like Emma Johnson who can make guys miss, catching some of Dylan's passes. So, it certainly hurt to lose Dante Dowdell. They're going to need a running back inside the 10-yard line. But I just think we're going to see the offense evolve into what Holgerson is going to have time to really do what he wants with this thing. And I wonder if we'll see some of that Saturday.
How about on the defensive side of the ball then? Not exactly a skeleton crew, but what are you expecting and what do you want to see out of Nebraska with John Butler's, first taste as a defensive coordinator at Nebraska being in the bowl game?
Yeah, I'm not expecting a lot. The defense has obviously had some turnover, and it's going to have turnover. I don't think, John Butler is going to throw everything out there. But for me, the Saturday is about saying goodbye to two of my favorites, two of the all-timers, Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmacher. And they were joking. They said that they would play every down because of the guys who left. And I'd love to see them play every down. And I think Boston College is they're going to try to run over you, and that's their style. And those guys are going to have those two guys are going to be right in the middle of it all game. So defensively, it's a run stop type of game. But I'm not judging John Butler on anything that happens Saturday. He's got to get the players. He's got to get the defensive staff there. I mean, I'm not sure is the new D-line coach going to be at the game, or is he still with the Chiefs, or how is that working? I'm not sure if I know that yet. So, and a new secondary coach, will he be there, or is he after the game? So, I think the defense will be sorted out in the off season with more portal additions and spring ball. But I'm looking forward to seeing what John Butler can do, and it'll be a different spin on things. He's very experienced. He knows a lot about defense, and I'm anxious to also see Phil Snow's what sort of touch he brings to this thing too. He's going to be there to if they need any expert advice. So I think that the defense we'll dive into that in the offseason for sure.
We sure will. Speaking of the portal, I think it's interesting to know, too, since the last time we talked, Nebraska did grab a quarterback out of the transfer portal, Marcos Davila from Purdue. What stands out to me about him, Tom, is the stylistic similarity to Dylan Raiola, right? Bigger-bodied guy at 6'3", 230, more of a pocket passer, big-armed type of guy. Do you like Nebraska going into the portal and getting a guy with a similar style to Dylan Raiola so that if he has to miss time like he did briefly earlier this season, that there's not much of a change for the offense? Or do you think that there was some benefit to Nebraska for kind of diversifying in that quarterback room and having the dual threat option of Heinrich Harburg as a backup?
No, I like having similar guys. Holgerson knows this guy, right? I think he's got a history with him. So I think if there's going to be an interesting wrinkle to watch for is how much more they obviously are going to want Raiola to become more of a runner or become more of a running threat.
Mm-hmm.
And how much more? Obviously not going to run options or zone read deals where he's going to keep it. But I think there's going to be, okay, if things aren't open, get out of the pocket and run. And, not to bring up Mahomes, but, the kind of stuff he drives defense is crazy. Because he'll just rip off a 10 or a 20-yard run down the sidelines and just kind of bow out of the sidelines before they can get him. And it just drives them nuts. So, Dylan's athletic enough to do that kind of stuff. I think I'm not sure the former coordinator ever thought about that or wanted him to do that. I don't think he was kind of amazed when he was kind of running. Dylan kind of did it on his own. So I think Holgorsen will. I think that'll be a point of emphasis, I think, this spring and going into next season. Do I expect it to happen this week? Yeah, probably not. I don't know how much they're going to show Saturday. I think it's a big game. I think you need to treat this like a big game, like it's a must-win. There's a big difference between 7-6, 6-7. I'd much rather be 7-6. I think it's time to get back into winning seasons matter. Bowl wins matter. Winning big games matters. I think this will be year 3, and we're going to certainly expect 7, 8, maybe 9 wins next year. And so why not start it off with a little urgency? So, but I don't know how that's going to figure into the play calling or what they're going to show.
It's going to be fascinating to watch because, Tom, I think that you'll be able to take out of this game whatever it is you want to take out. If the offense is successful, hey, look at this. They're all set up for next year. Excitement is through the roof. If the offense struggles, well, it was cold and there's some new pieces and new names. They're still trying to figure things out. Maybe they were, working on some other stuff for install to get ahead of spring and they forgot the current plays. And then defensively, if it plays well again, hey, look at all these young guys that are going to be the building blocks for next year. John Butler was absolutely the right hire. Why did we ever entertain outside offers? And then if it plays poorly, no big deal. There's a lot of turnover. You're missing a lot of big players. It's basically a home game for Boston College anyways. So, yeah, you'd rather win it. Matt Rule says they're going to win the game, not just for the experience. But I'm excited to see Nebraska fans and how they react to whatever the result is from Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, you're right, though. Some people who want to, if they lose, the people who want to get down on them, we'll get down on them. And the people who want to say it was no big deal will do that. I actually think there's going to be a big following at this game. I think there's going to be a lot of Husker fans. There'll be East Coast Huskers, New England Huskers, the Pennsylvania Huskers, the Jersey Huskers, maybe down the Atlantic coast a little bit. Who knows? But I just think, I don't know, my people that are flying, it's very expensive right now to try to make this trip work. So, but some will be there, and there's some excitement. It's we didn't get the matchup maybe a lot of people wanted, whatever that was. But this is a bowl game, by God, and it's the first time in forever. And it's going to be great.
And I think ideally, too, for Nebraska, Tom, we know that Matt Rule's the Texas guy, but he's the Jersey guy. He's the New York City guy. He told us about as much. So I think for the Matt Rule aspect of things, as much as, we talk about the power dynamic and the power of college football shifting to the South and to warm climates and neutral sites and domes and all of that, we can't skip over all the great players Nebraska's had from the Jersey area, from New York, from Pennsylvania. And clearly Matt Rule's comfortable there. So, again, without putting too much stock into it, it might be a good thing for Nebraska to head out east for once, too.
Absolutely. I mean, Nebraska always recruited Jersey, but they recruited California. They had their hooks in Hawaii a little bit. They were here, they were there. I really think Kansas City is a place where a lot of great Huskers have been from, and it's right down the road. It would be great. Kansas City right now is kind of wide open. It's kind of Big 12, but it's Missouri's SEC. It's just kind of, it's kind of all over the place. So, and I think they're obviously going to do that. And going to Arrowhead is a great way to start. But yeah, I mean, the Irving Friars, the Peter brothers,
Rozier,
obviously. There's all kinds of connections there. So that's I remember the kickoff classics always played in Jersey, but they were always like a New York City game in a lot of ways too. But this will be fun. This is the Gotham Bowl 1962 started the run. We'll see if they can start one here.
That we will. It'll kick off on Saturday at 11 o'clock Central Time. Tom, safe travels. Thank you so much for your hour, as always. It's been a blast. We'll talk to you after the holidays. Have a very Merry Christmas.
All right, talk to you next week, hopefully. Thanks.
That's Tom Shatel of the Omaha World Herald with us on our VIP line, brought to you by Aloe Fiber. That's where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. And I'm playing the wrong music. This is a rejoin instead of an out, as I just realized. Let's get some out music there. This is more like it. But again, big thanks to Tom for joining us here on the Husker Football Hour. Big thanks to Aloe Fiber for their sponsorship of our VIP line. That'll do it for me. You got Harrison and DeMornay Pearson out coming up next. I will be back with you on Friday for On the Block starting at 2 with my partner, Eric Strickland. Husker Hoops, 9:30 tonight on the Deuce. I'll be tuning in, watching that for sure. Hope you'll join me for that. And again, I will talk to you Friday. Very Merry Christmas to you and yours. Stay safe. Have a blast. We'll talk again soon.
Raising little ones is a big job, and you do your best to give them a good start every day. That means making sure they're well cared for while you're apart. You work hard, but it's not always easy to make ends meet. There may be help. Find out if you qualify for Nebraska's Child Care Tax Credit for working parents. You could be eligible for a credit of up to $2,000 per child on your next tax return. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation, and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop!
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended